Dwayne had always been the adventurous one among his friends, the kind of guy who embraced challenges with a grin and a witty comment. So when he suggested a camping trip in the heart of the dark forest, his friends didn't hesitate to join. It was meant to be a weekend filled with laughter, roasted marshmallows, and shared stories around the campfire. The forest was dense and had an eerie aura, its ancient trees standing tall and close, their branches entwined like gnarled fingers. As Dwayne and his friends ventured deeper, the sunlight waned, and the forest seemed to swallow them whole. On the first evening, they set up camp near a small clearing. The flickering fire provided a sense of security, yet the forest's shadows seemed to dance menacingly just beyond the light's reach. Laughter echoed through the woods as they roasted marshmallows and reminisced about old times. But as the night grew darker, so did the forest's grip on their surroundings. Dwayne woke abruptly to the sound of a twig snapping. He sat up, heart pounding, scanning the darkness. The fire had dwindled to embers, casting eerie glows on the trees. His friends were nowhere to be seen. Panic welled up inside him, and he called out their names, his voice swallowed by the ominous silence. Frantic, he grabbed a flashlight and ventured into the forest. He stumbled through the underbrush, fear gnawing at his resolve. He called out again and again, the only response being the rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. Hours seemed to blur together as he searched tirelessly, his mind haunted by images of his friends lost in the darkness. Dwayne's voice grew hoarse, and exhaustion tugged at his every step. Just as despair threatened to consume him, he stumbled upon a peculiar sight. A series of markings etched onto tree trunks, like an otherworldly trail. His heart raced as he followed the enigmatic path, his desperation now mingling with a renewed glimmer of hope. The trail led him deeper into the forest, weaving through the ancient trees. Strange symbols adorned the bark, and an unsettling sensation crept over Dwayne. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. His flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced in rhythm with his racing heartbeat. Eventually, the markings brought him to a small clearing, eerily similar to their campsite. In the center stood an old, weathered cabin, its windows shattered, and its wooden frame sagging under the weight of time. Dwayne's heart sank as he recognized it from the stories. The cabin that locals claimed was cursed, a place where people vanished without a trace. Summoning all his courage, Dwayne pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. The air was musty, filled with a chilling silence. He noticed a faded journal on a table, its pages filled with frantic handwriting. The author described the forest's sinister secrets, its ability to warp reality and consume those who dared to tread too far. As he read, realization struck Dwayne like a lightning bolt. His friends were trapped, ensnared by the forest's malevolent power. Determination burned within him. He had to find them before it was too late. Armed with newfound knowledge, he retraced his steps, deciphering the symbols to navigate through the tangled woods. Time seemed to blur, and Dwayne's determination became his driving force. He fought through exhaustion and fear, using the markings to navigate the treacherous landscape. Days turned into nights, and the forest's grasp intensified, but Dwayne pressed on. Dwayne's relentless pursuit led him deeper into the heart of the forest, where the very air seemed to pulse with an ominous energy. The symbols on the trees became more intricate and haunting, guiding him through a labyrinth of twisted paths. He battled through thorny thickets, crossed streams, and climbed steep hills, his mind focused solely on reuniting with his friends. His body ached, his clothes torn and dirty, but Dwayne refused to yield. He could feel the forest's malevolence growing, a sinister force that sought to ensnare him like it had done his friends. He pressed on, using the journal's cryptic notes to unravel the forest's secrets. As he ventured deeper, the trees seemed to close in around him, their branches forming a canopy that blocked out the sun. The forest floor became spongy and damp, and strange sounds echoed through the shadows, whispers that seemed to originate from the very trees themselves. After what felt like an eternity, Dwayne stumbled upon a small clearing, bathed in an eerie bluish light. In the center of the clearing stood his friends, motionless and pale, their eyes vacant and distant. Relief and horror warred within him as he realized they were trapped in some sort of trance. He rushed to their side, shaking them, yelling their names, but they remained unresponsive. The forest's grip on them was unyielding. Dwayne's heart raced as he remembered the journal's warnings. The forest could trap its victims in a never-ending cycle, feeding off their fear and despair. Dwayne refused to let his friends become another tale of the dark forest horrors. He rummaged through his backpack and retrieved a small vial of clear liquid, a potion he had found instructions for in the journal. With trembling hands, he poured a drop onto each of his friends' lips, praying it would break the forest's hold. Slowly, their eyes began to regain focus, and color returned to their cheeks. Confusion turned to gratitude as they realized Dwayne had risked everything to save them. The forest, sensing its hold slipping, unleashed a cacophony of haunting whispers and rustling leaves, a final attempt to keep its prey. Dwayne and his friends mustered their remaining strength and began retracing their steps, using the symbols to guide them out of the forest's grasp. The forest fought back, its shadows reaching out like grasping claws, but they pressed on, fueled by the determination to escape its clutches. As they emerged from the suffocating embrace of the dark forest, sunlight greeted them like a long-lost friend. Weak and battered, they stumbled into the clearing where their journey had begun. Their campsite, once a place of laughter and camaraderie, now stood as a testament to the forest's unforgiving nature. With a mix of relief and sadness, they packed up their belongings and left the forest behind. The horrors they had witnessed would forever haunt their memories, a reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the edge of familiarity. And so, Dwayne and his friends returned to the world they knew, forever changed by their ordeal in the dark forest. They had faced its malevolent power and emerged victorious, a testament to the strength of friendship and the unyielding spirit of those who dare to confront the unknown. The dark forest had always cast a long shadow over the small town of Willowbrook. Legends whispered of eerie whispers that emanated from its depths, and of those who had ventured too far into its embrace and never returned. But for a curious young boy named Kevin, these tales only fueled his desire to explore the enigmatic woods. Kevin was an adventurous soul, his heart filled with an insatiable curiosity that often led him into places others dared not tread. One crisp autumn morning, he announced to his parents his intention to spend the day wandering through the heart of the dark forest. Concern etched their faces, but Kevin's determination was unwavering. Armed with a backpack, a water bottle, and a map his father had given him, Kevin set off into the wilderness. The forest enveloped him, its gnarled trees and dense undergrowth seeming to stretch forever. As the hours passed, his excitement grew, and he lost himself in the thrill of discovery. Hours turned into twilight, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, Kevin's excitement began to wane. He realized he had ventured deeper than he intended, and unease settled in his stomach. The forest seemed to transform as darkness descended, becoming a labyrinth of shadows and strange sounds. Whispers, like the ones from the legends, seemed to dance just at the edge of his hearing. Panic took hold of Kevin as he struggled to retrace his steps. The trees, once friendly markers, now appeared as menacing sentinels blocking his way. Every rustle of leaves, every distant hoot of an owl, sent his heart racing. He stumbled over roots and rocks, his fear growing with each passing minute. Exhausted and disoriented, Kevin finally collapsed against the trunk of a massive oak tree. Tears welled in his eyes as he realized the gravity of his situation. The forest had him in its grip, and he was lost. Days turned into weeks, and Willowbrook was consumed by worry. Search parties scoured the outskirts of the dark forest, their shouts echoing through the trees. Kevin's parents, racked with guilt and despair, clung to the fading hope that their son would be found alive. It was a cold and overcast morning when the search finally yielded a grim discovery. A group of volunteers stumbled upon a clearing deep within the forest, and there, beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient tree, lay the lifeless body of Kevin. His once vibrant eyes were now closed, his face etched with a haunting calmness. News of the discovery spread through Willowbrook like wildfire, and a heavy blanket of grief settled over the town. Questions swirled in the air like autumn leaves caught in a breeze. How had Kevin ended up so far from where he was last seen? What had led him to that fateful spot? And most hauntingly, what had caused his untimely demise? As the community mourned, rumors began to circulate. Some claimed to have heard faint whispers in the wind. Others swore they had seen shadowy figures lurking at the edge of the forest. The legends of the dark forest seemed to take on a new, chilling significance. Kevin's parents, devastated by the loss of their son, sought answers. They delved into his belongings, retracing his steps through the forest using the map he had carried with him. Their search led them to a series of cryptic symbols scrawled in the margins of the map, symbols that seemed to hold a secret only Kevin could decipher. Desperation gave them newfound determination, and they embarked on a journey to uncover the truth behind their son's tragic end. What had he encountered in the heart of the dark forest? What had driven him to leave those enigmatic symbols behind? As they followed his footsteps into the abyss, they could only hope that they would find the answers that had eluded them for so long. Kevin's parents spent countless hours deciphering the symbols on the map, piecing together the puzzle their son had left behind. As they worked tirelessly, their grief transformed into a relentless determination to understand the events that had led to his death. The symbols, it turned out, were coordinates marking a specific location within the dark forest. Armed with this newfound knowledge, they ventured deep into the woods, following the path that Kevin had taken. The air grew colder, and an eerie silence settled over the landscape. After what felt like an eternity of searching, they stumbled upon a hidden alcove nestled between the gnarled trees. There, partially concealed by underbrush, lay a weathered journal. Trembling hands reached out to grasp it, and as they flipped through its pages, they were drawn into Kevin's world. The journal chronicled his days in the forest, capturing his initial excitement and wonder, and then his gradual descent into fear and paranoia. His words painted a picture of a young boy haunted by whispers and shadowy figures that seemed to move just beyond his vision. As the pages turned, the entries grew more fragmented and desperate. Kevin described his attempts to decipher the symbols, believing they held the key to escaping the forest's clutches. He wrote of sleepless nights, of feeling as though he was being watched, and of the growing realization that the forest was changing him. One final entry, written in shaky handwriting, described a profound sense of resignation. Kevin believed he had unlocked the secret of the dark forest, but it came at a terrible cost. He felt as though the very essence of his being was slipping away, consumed by the sinister forces that lurked within the trees. Kevin's parents closed the journal, their hearts heavy with sorrow and a chilling understanding. The forest had ensnared their son in a web of fear and darkness, its secrets devouring his innocence. But there was a glimmer of closure, a spark of insight that illuminated the shadows. Returning to Willowbrook, they shared their findings with the community. The haunting tale of Kevin's journey into the dark forest served as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the perils that awaited those who dared to venture too far. The townspeople, once captivated by the legends, now viewed the forest with a mixture of fear and respect. Kevin's legacy lived on as a somber reminder, a beacon of the darkness that could reside within even the most innocuous-seeming places. The forest, forever changed by the events that had unfolded within its depths, remained a place of mystery and uncertainty. And as the years passed, the story of Kevin's tragic end continued to echo through the generations of Willowbrook. His name became synonymous with the dark forest, a name whispered in hushed tones around campfires and shared in cautionary tales told to curious children. In the end, the truth behind Kevin's fate remained a haunting enigma, a testament to the power of the unknown and the depths of human curiosity. The dark forest held its secrets close, shrouding them in a veil of darkness that would forever remain unbroken.